the I, N. The Independent interviewed Frank. The UK paper, The Independent.
Yeah, in
they
England.
called, and did a. It's coming out in mid-September. They were doing a piece about the people running for president that aren't part of the two parties.
Right.
And he got hooked. I mean, it was first like, oh, I'm going to ask you a couple questions, but then Frank starts talking to him, and it's still he's staying on longer and longer.
Right.
So
that's the ability of the shaman, huh?
Then Susie, and then Frank named his running mates Dr. Susie Block. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah,
you gotta tell me who else.
That's recent. Well, it's because it kept coming up to us that he needs to have a running mate. So he thought he actually to get on some of the to be able to be a write-in candidate in some states, you have to have a running mate.
Running mate, huh?
So and then he had to come up with a running mate. So G, F, I, first I asked G, Gerald, and
Joel Sanders.
Gerald wouldn't do it. Said, he wouldn't do it.
Why not? Did he say why?
Well, he said it was a lot of work, right? And Emma, he is P. Oh, that was he said, I'm peace and freedom. And
That's
he
right,
said, I feel no matter who they run, I would vote for that person for president.
Yeah.
Frank said, I think that actually, because we're peace and freedom too. Frank said, I think that peace and freedom should run me as president.
Well, I'm peace and freedom also. I think they should run you as president
so
too.
Gerald thought that was a good idea, and he actually contacted the person in Sacramento. That's the local peace and freedom person. And her and Frank did an email, and she did, say that she was going to submit his name to the committee that selects people that were going to run.
Right.
And that was a couple of weeks ago, and we haven't heard any back. C, A, L, call her, find out what's going on.
Well, yeah, I will. Because I'm peace and freedom too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot, I cannot handle the Democrats and the Republicans anymore. I mean, we should have a parliament. I mean, it should just change. I don't give a damn what it changes to, but this two-party system or this one-party system of all the rich people in the United States who run everything, it's like crazy. It's over. It's over for them. I mean, they both do the same thing. They just exploit the people who don't have it.
Did you see the debate? Oh, that there was a gay organization that sponsored a debate a couple of weeks ago for the Democrats.
I didn't see that when I saw the YouTube debates, though.
Okay.
The Republicans and the Democrats.
Well, we happened to catch some things about this. So it's a gay organization, and the way they organized it was they had each Democratic candidate come out and be questioned by a panel of like 3 or 4 people, gay people. Right. And they were all asked the question, would you support gay marriage? And only Kucinich said yes.
Right.
The rest of them all said no. And Frank is going like, they don't even feel motivated to fudge, to somehow like make it seem like they're not totally against this thing to this group, a fairly large block of people that are bringing them there. But
I tell you. I could tell you another thing they all answered the same. They answered no to too.
Me, there was no FIFO follow-up. Right. There was no follow-up. Why won't you support it?
Right, yeah.
It was just like, okay, moving on to the next question.
Right. They let it go. They should have followed up with
right.
it. Yeah.
And was you A, against M, I, mixed marriage for 40 years ago, then too? That could have been a good follow-up question. Were you against mixed marriages too 40 years ago?
Yeah, 40 years ago, you couldn't marry, outside of your race. That was crazy too. I think these,
B, for the S-A, same reason. The same kind of reason they're against gay marriage.
Right, gay marriages, right.
I-O, obviously, it is not N-A, natural, to L, to M-O, to M-I, mix races, or R-E-G-I, religions.
They're totally against that. Yeah.
It would W-E-A, weaken the M-A, marriage.
It would weaken the marriage?
It would weaken the thing of marriage, you mean? Is that what you mean?
No.
Yeah, not to mention P B L O O, blood.
Oh yeah, that's that's got nothing to do with it, Frank. Come on.
But no one asked that as a follow-up.
Right. No one asked. I mean, they don't, you got, our society has always had a problem, specifically with the gays and race, and our society is not open for that.
See? And our Crips, put them in the bucket too. They have a problem with Crips, as Frank says, disabled people.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why they had to. EEOC has a lot to do with that. That's why you have to file complaints about it. That's why they have to build ramps and everything. And it should have been done. We are the warmongers of the world. We have more crippled people than anybody else. Come on. We cripple more people than anybody else.
My eye doctor. Yeah, Frank's eye doctor, he's been going to like since the 80s. All of a sudden, we called to make the appointment this year for his annual exam. And, if we like the end of the day, because we get up late, so no problem, 4 o'clock. I said, October is soon enough. We just want a 4 o'clock appointment. No problem. We go way out where they have no other appointments, 4 o'clock. Then as I'm getting off the phone, she says, oh, by the way, what is Frank's insurance? I said, Medi-Cal. She goes, oh, I should have asked you that to begin with. I'm sorry that appointment isn't available. I said, okay, well, hey. She said, 4 o'clock isn't available. I can give you 3:15. I said, it doesn't matter the day of the week or the week of the month. The 4 o'clock is all we care about. So you name it. You tell me when would work. So she said, well, and I kept pushing. So finally she says, well, it's just that B-E, because M-L-A, last year. Well, to go back another year, last year when I called to make Frank's annual appointment, they said that he would be meeting in at a different location than the usual office that we'd been meeting in for 20 plus years. I said, why? And they said, well, we're in the process of remodeling and moving the whole practice to this new location, and we're starting with the Medi-Cal patients.
They just don't want to take you.
I said, okay. And then they said that the Medi-Cal slots there were only specific slots for Medi-Cal patients, and they were booked months in advance. And so it would be like months and months. So at that point, Frank said, call and talk to the doctor, because we had a doctor, Dr. Hom, who we all go see. We had a good relationship with. We get her on the phone, and she was embarrassed. She said, when do you want to come? You can come to the location you've always come to. She filled it out herself. She made an appointment. So that was what happened last year. This year they tell me that. And when I first called, I said, I want to make the appointment with Dr. Hom. Dr. Hom is no longer with us. She's gone. Okay.
They got rid of her.
They got rid of her. And then they tell us this thing. So I kept pressing. I kept saying, why can't Frank come in at 4 o'clock?
Right.
Well, finally, she said, we saved the last appointment of the day for people with contact lenses in case they have problems. So, yeah. Oh, okay. So I said, okay, fine. I take the 3:15. Mikey calls the next day. Saying, he's a patient also with Alameda Alliance as his insurance. He calls. They said, what's your insurance? He tells him he wants a 4 o'clock appointment. Right around that same time, no problem. 4 o'clock appointment. So our plan for tomorrow, this is all just happening. Mikey is going to call with the tape recorder going and say he just found out, which is true, that Alameda Alliance only pays to go every other year, and this is not his year. He said, but I come in with another patient of yours, Frank Moore, so can I just give him my 4 o'clock appointment? So if they say no, and then we're going to ask them to explain to us why Mikey could have it, but Frank couldn't, because they can't use the contact lens thing.
No.
And then see what happens.
Oh, my God. This is, it sounds like they treat you like a black person, huh? You don't look black to me.
I-O-I-K. Keep saying I am a nigger. He keeps saying that. I keep saying M-O. Most people are niggers.
They treat us bad. See? Now you begin to see. If you're a Crip, like you say, you understand what discrimination is. Like you say, you're a Crip. You understand what discrimination is, and it's hard for people to understand.
When I-W-E went to E-N-T-E-N-R enroll in college, they wouldn't let Frank enroll because he drooled. They said it would distract the other students. A-I-R airplanes wouldn't let him ride alone in the airplane.
They wouldn't let him ride alone?
Right. Like if he had somebody get him on the plane and get him off, he wasn't allowed to travel alone.
That's terrible. What did they say why?
If they are crashed. People would trip over.
You would trip over. Oh my God. Terrible, man. This guy, I don't know. I don't know about you, Frank. You're terrible.
Of course. Of course I would. I should. I always. F-O-U. Fought. I always fought. And won.
And won, that's good. Yeah, I fight a lot too, but I don't win. I don't win as often. I mean, if I was winning a lot, it'd be the struggle would be cool. But when you lose a lot, you don't. It takes a lot out of the fight.
S-W-H-I, which is Y U R V O, voting for me.
Yeah, that's right.
I win.
Well, you better win. Yeah, dig it. We should get back to your platform so I can ask you some questions about education and media, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. What about I think one of your platform issues in media was that community access would be for everybody in the United States.
Yes.
And that would be for radio and television?
Yes.
What about streaming and the internet and stuff like that?
Yes. And satellite.
And satellite too.
And
okay.
C, cable.
And cable. It would be for everybody. And they would all have to, because cable has PEG TV, which is public education and government.
Mm-hmm.
But satellite does not.
Right.
And some of the cable access channels don't have it. Right. They don't have it. I mean, some of the channel where cable is, they don't have PEG at all. Mm-hmm. So you're gonna change that?
Yes, and they don't, and they want to get rid of that.
That's right. They want to get rid of PEG channels altogether.
Yes.
And if they don't get rid of them, they want to put commercials on them.
Wow, didn't hear about that.
Yeah, that's one of the next things they're going to do.
Do I get paid then? When the money comes in from the commercials, as someone who puts on shows,
yeah.
Would he make some money?
No, we'll go back to the channel, and then the channel would then buy equipment and whatever they have to do when the city drops them. That's what. Okay, right now, here's what happens, Frank. Right now, I think the cable companies give money back to the city to run the PEG channels. Okay?
Yes.
Now, that money that comes back, what the cable channels want to do is take that money and not pay it. They don't want to pay it. They don't want to give it to the city. The city is saying, because you dug up our streets and you did all this, you have to pay us. So the cable companies are fighting that. They don't want to pay it. Now, if they get the laws changed and they don't have to pay it, what they're going to do is say, we'll put commercials on community access television and then we'll give you some money from that.
Oh my.
Or they might go regional and have what they might do, they have this regional thing where it goes to the state and the state takes care of it. The state collects all the money and the money comes back to all those communities in which the state wants to give it. So that's what could happen. But if you make me czar of the FCC, I won't do that. I'll keep it, like you want it as president. How's that?
Yes. Yes.
Now, let me ask you one thing about micro radio. What do you think about that?
Yes.
You think it should work? You think it should be?
Always before? No. Every community should have at least two, at least one, and I don't mean city. I mean community.
Good.
Every community should have at least one micro radio station.
That's excellent.
S-O. So. S-O-U-T. South. B-E. South Berkeley would have one, at least. E, etc.
Okay, that's cool. I like it.
G, A. No. Yeah. Okay. That's all.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think that's great. That will work. I like to see that. I like to hear it too, because it's radio. But let me ask you about the
W
war.
I with O without L I N C license. There would be no license required.
No license required. That's great. I mean, you don't need it nowadays to operate radio. You don't need a license at all. Because back in the 50s and the 60s, even to go on radio, you had to have a license. The license was a way of keeping people out of radio.
Right.
That's the way to exclude people. Like what's happening right now. We have digital, what they call it, digital inclusion now, when it was digital exclusion. They call it digital including now. So what are you gonna do to help the underprivileged people who can't afford computers and get on the internet and stuff like that? What are you gonna do? You're gonna give them money, $1,000 a month will help them. And what else?
F-R, free internet. Free internet for everybody.
You make the internet free. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. That would be great.
They don't like that idea at all.
Imagine the exchange of ideas.
Exactly.
They really. You have to have 2 or 3 of me then. You have to have 2 or 3 bodyguards then, because what would happen? Your ideas would go worldwide then. The whole world would be involved. Oh, you'd have to have 4 or 5, maybe 6 of them.
Like what? How? They S-O-L how they sold the internet. A as 9 as would be how they sold the internet as this is what it would be like. It would actually be really like that.
Like it was really supposed to be.
Yes.
I understand.
Yes.
Yeah, but now they make so much money on the internet. Look at Google. I mean, $500 a share. Come on, that's a lot of moolah. There's a lot of power with all that kind of money.
That is why the flat tax
You got an answer for all that stuff, don't you? That's good. I like that.